She was acquitted for the third time of the death of Rosa Calderoni, and she is a free citizen of Italy right now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What is going on in Italy?
She can't practice anymore, I'm assuming, right? Or
I mean, I would assume not. Healthcare horrors. Murder. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. It's time for another episode of Healthcare Horrors. It feels like it's been a while.
It has been a while for us. For our listeners, probably not very long, but we haven't been in the studio in a while.
And we're back to talk about more murder. I hope everyone's holidays are off to a good start. That was a weird segue, murder and then holidays. But
whatever works for you, Ash.
You know, it's the beginning of December now. So hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Turkey and potatoes. Mm-hmm. Pumpkin pie.
Should we introduce ourselves really quick?
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm Alicia Carosella. I'm your veteran recruiter.
There you go. I am Ashley Boyce, a brand specialist.
I'm Dolan, just here, doing the thing.
On the knobs.
On the knobs.
As always. He doesn't do anything else in the office. He's just here all the time.
Just waiting for us to come back and record.
Okay, so in the last episode of Healthcare Horrors, we talked about the spine doctor, Christopher Dunch.
Dunch.
Oh, I forgot about the Dunch.
Good one. So that was kind of a gnarly episode. Messed up a lot of people's backs, obviously. So give that a listen. But today we are going overseas and talking about one of the most prolific angels of death, and more recent one, Daniela Poggiali, and she is Italian. This takes place in Italy.
In Lugo, Italy, which is in northern Italy.
And she doesn't really stray too far. I guess she stays in Lugo the whole time. There wasn't very much on her background, other than she was born in 1970. I couldn't even find a month.
I feel like it was April. I think I might have found one source. Yeah, I think it was April, but I could be wrong.
Let's go with that. She was born in April of 1970 in Lugo, Italy. And I eventually read that she does not have a history of mental illness. That's about it.
Well, yeah, and when I was doing the background research, I mean, there was just nothing, and I would go to websites, and, there would be websites, I could click the link, but then nothing would pop up. It'd be like, site not found, and I'm like, this girl is doing a really good job at hiding all of her information.
Yeah, I read mainly everything about her just in Medical Monsters, but I was trying to find some stuff online, and even in hive.news on that website, it talks about her crimes, but it even talks about the lack of other information on her. So I just thought that was interesting. Even the Wikipedia, there's a Wikipedia page about her, but there's nothing on it. It's weird.
They said that there's she's listed under nurses who kill on a different Wikipedia page, but there's still not a lot of information about her. There's no information about if she's ever been married, if she's got kids, her childhood. There's just nothing out there, which is kind of interesting to me.
I wonder if that has anything to do with where she's from and how, maybe because she is a criminal, maybe all of that stuff was kept confidential. I don't know.
And maybe it's more recent. So
right.
I don't know. It's weird.
It was definitely hard to find a lot of info on her.
Yeah. So I guess we can just dive right into the nitty gritty.
Let's do it.
So we are going to begin at Umberto I Hospital, or Umberto I Hospital in Lugo, which is in northern Italy. And that is where she kills most or all of her patients. So she has been in healthcare for 17 years. We couldn't find a history of where she went to school, what other hospitals she might have worked at.
Her information is really on lock.
On lock. So apparently, I thought this was kind of interesting too in the book I was reading. It can be kind of common for hospitals to experience anomalies where there's an influx in deaths. So, quick side note, that made me think of, at one point we were trying to do content on full moon stories in the hospital. So if any of you healthcare workers have full moon stories...
They do. I know. One of my good
Ooh.
friends is an ER nurse, and she's
Okay.
always got stories on the
Yes.
full moon.
Yes. Send them into your recruiters. Like, we would love to do a piece of content about this. But back to Poggiali. Obviously, the influx of deaths at this hospital was no coincidence because she was the nurse on duty. Hospital staff claimed that she was malevolent and vindictive. She would get annoyed by patients. She would steal things from them, whether it be money or other little items. She would give them sleeping medication so she wouldn't really have to deal with them during her shift. So that's nice. And after her shift, she would give her patients laxatives sometimes.
She's a bully.
Yeah, she's a bit of a bully, and she, I don't know, would just basically leave a mess for the next shift. She would also say things like, "Leave it to me, I'll quiet them," referring to her patients. And there was even a doctor who was unsure how to treat a sick patient, and she told him, 2 vials of potassium and it will be resolved. So she's very cocky.
I just also want to know why a doctor is listening to a nurse in terms of prescribing medication.
Maybe he probably didn't even want her opinion, but it doesn't seem like she's afraid to give it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. With all that being said, somehow she's still found diligent and hardworking. I don't know. I wasn't there.
A legend. This is all a legend.
So, of course, there's no proof that she's doing anything wrong. Patients are either getting sick or dying, and it's all kind of hearsay, or they're insinuating that she might have something to do with it. Finally, some suspicion begins to arise even more. In March of 2014, 1 of 5 patients that died was named Oriana Krika, and she died March 31st, 2014, when her nasal feeding tube started leaking all over the pillow, and she was just found dead. So autopsies on her and these other patients, nothing came of them. Nothing was found, of course, which is what always kind of happens in everything we've been talking about.
Well, and so something that I had read, if you don't mind if I interject
go for it.
was that when she was injecting patients with the potassium chloride, that when you do an autopsy, that only stays in your system after death for a few days. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to detect if you don't do the autopsy immediately.
Yeah, it doesn't last in your system for very long.
Which is probably why I think she was getting away with a lot of this for so long, because you can't detect it unless you are like right on it,
Right. A few days or even hours. I think I even saw hours. I guess it probably depends on the dose too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, autopsies, nothing came of that. But of course, there was still a little suspicion. So instead of the hospital calling the police or firing Nurse Poggiali, they just decide to switch her to the day shift so she can be better supervised, See what
so
happens.
She can kill the patients on day shift.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So on April 8th, Rosa Calderoni was pronounced dead at age 78, and this is the case that ends up getting Daniela Poggiali caught. So Manuela Alci is visiting her mom, Rosa Calderoni, when Poggiali walks in and insists that Manuela leaves because she has things to do. So it sounds like she's being kind of snappy. But, if you're visiting someone in the hospital, I don't think it's that weird if a nurse walks in and asks you to leave. Just be nice about it. And so Manuela obliges. When she does return, her mom is asleep, and there's a random vial hooked up to her via an IV line. Once the vial is almost empty, Mrs. Calderoni begins to spasm. Her eyes roll in the back of her head, and so her daughter goes to find help. But by the time they return, her mom is dead, the vial is gone, and of course, the nurse is gone as well. So Manuela...
She was just doing this in broad daylight. Didn't care. Her daughter's right there.
Yes.
And
how ballsy.
It's not like she just injected her and then took the needle in the vial. She so bravely, I'm going to call this a brave behavior and brave in the worst way, just hooks up a vial of whatever it is she's using, probably potassium chloride, to her IV. It's just like, you just have no care in the world.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you'd think you would want to be a little sneaky. I don't know. Wait till no one is there.
This is why they, the courts and stuff say she's got this God complex, because clearly she just does not, it's not clicking with her. Like,
I was just going to say, like, a lot of the stories you hear is that the God complex and just
pretty crazy.
I just wonder also sometimes if these people have the part of their brain, I think it's the amygdala, which is responsible for your fear response. Like, you just had like your fear removed, like you just don't have that. Did that part of your brain just not develop? Because they're just not afraid at all.
Of course, she's being brave and everything, but this is how she gets caught. So brave, sloppy, however we want to look at it. A police investigation begins from this. Poggiali gets fired because they have to find evidence, of course, before they can arrest her. From the hospital's dispensary, they discovered that 2 vials of potassium chloride were missing. And yeah, like you said, potassium chloride, it breaks down in the body quickly. It is a compound that's powerful enough to stop the heart. And this is actually one of the 3 drugs used during lethal injection.
Okay, I was just going to ask if that's what you heard too. That's what I came across in my research as well.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. However, now I'm going to think that every time. Darn it. However, this is a fun, weird little fact about this drug. So it breaks down in the body quickly, but there's an area around the eyeball called the Aqueous Humor where this poison accumulates and stays a little longer. So in the autopsy of Rosa Calderoni, they check this part of the eye, and there is a substantial amount of this drug there that triggered her heart attack. So yeah, Poggiali got sloppy, she got brave. She actually even left the empty vial in a disposal unit for anyone to find. Like, again, you'd think you would try and hide the evidence.
Well, clearly she's just comfortable doing this. She's been doing it for so long. It's just like, it's just like eating breakfast to her, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, she's listed as one of the most prolific healthcare killers because she killed up to like 93, or could have killed up to 93 people. And yeah, I think I saw like in one day she could have killed potentially 3 people.
Yeah, and I think she admitted, well, I don't think she's ever admitted to anybody.
Yeah.
But they're looking at 40 different people for sure that they're like on the radar, but up to as many as 93, which is a lot of people.
Yeah. So yeah, they get this evidence that they wanted so they can finally arrest her. October 9th, 2014 is when that happens. And she loved it. She loved the media storm. She was waving and smiling at the media, the cameras. And speaking of cameras, one of the reasons that...
Do we have to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. One of the reasons that this is kind of a more notorious case, I guess, is because there were photos that were leaked of her posing with the dead patients. It wasn't a selfie, though. She was like...
Another nurse took them.
Yeah. So a colleague, and I was like reading some different things. So a colleague who is unnamed did take them. And in one of the things I read, the colleague claimed that he or she was scared of what Danielle would do if they didn't take the pictures, because she didn't seem like a nice person.
What?
And Daniela, and she, if you see these pictures, they're so creepy.
They're
obviously,
terrible.
like, but she's so giddy and she's so happy and she's clearly so proud of what she's done.
Yeah.
And with these pictures, she claims, her own words are something along the lines of like, those were just something private between me and my colleague. Like, I don't think it's fair that she would use these for something like this. Like, it's just like an inside joke. Like, nobody's laughing except for you, but nobody's laughing.
Yeah, they were meant to be private, but they eventually got leaked, of course. So then she like apologized that they were in poor taste. But
and this is the only thing Daniela shows remorse for at all this entire time.
Yeah,
she said she apologizes for taking the pictures with the deceased patients. Nothing else.
Yeah. I actually was reading that she denied harming or killing anyone.
She said she's only been there to do the most good and help people like live their lives and be healthy.
Yeah,
That's her claim.
Arrested and all that good stuff. Do you want to get into the trial a little more?
Yeah, so actually, it's amazing because Daniela has, I don't know, in Italy, I don't think they have double jeopardy because she's been tried for, Rosa Calderoni's murder 3 different times.
Yeah.
And she's been acquitted for the 3rd time. And
What?
yes. So as of October 25th, 2021, 23 days ago, from the time we're recording this, she was acquitted for the 3rd time of the death of Rosa Calderoni, and she is a free citizen of Italy right now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What is going on in Italy?
She can't practice anymore, I'm assuming, right? Or
I mean, I would assume not, but you should see the pictures of her in and out of trial. She is just like, she's like done up to the nines, hair, makeup, outfits, smiling. Like she thinks like she is like on America's Next Top Model. If you see these pictures of her.
we're talking potentially 93 people.
Yeah. And she's free.
And she was also acquitted
Somehow.
of the death of 94-year-old Massimo Montanari. And so both Rosa and Massimo were patients that died on the ward at Umberto I or Umberto I Hospital between March and April of 2014.
Are they giving reason to why they're acquitting her? Like,
The first acquittal was because she was convicted on the photographs. So like she wasn't convicted on actual evidence, and so she won her appeal based on that because the jury was like, hey, we're convicting her because she took these pictures with these deceased patients. So she got her way around that, and then other than that, it doesn't really tell any other details about why all of this and why she's free.
Maybe she has someone on the inside like working for her, because I don't know, I feel like there's enough evidence to put her away.
Okay, so I found in my notes for both cases, the court found that the facts were non-existent. What? I don't know how the courts work in Italy, but
No.
okay.
She's got someone on the inside for sure.
something.
Yeah, so obviously I think they said this is going to go to the Supreme Court
Gosh,
in
I
Italy.
hope so.
But for the time being, she's just living her life.
Yeah, there are a lot of photographs out there of her because it's probably more recent, and I don't know, like she's, not that this matters, but she's really pretty. Like
she is very pretty.
Yeah, she kind of seems fit. She's got like really short blonde hair that's cropped around her face, and she just like always has her makeup done, and I don't know.
There's pictures of her at like a birthday dinner with and it looks just like somebody you would see like on Instagram, just living their best life and enjoying their birthday. Like, it's so hard. I was like looking at this picture of her and just trying to like get in her head and be like, oh my God, but she's killed so many people. Like, and she's just out here carefree.
Yeah. A pretty smile, but like you can tell there's darkness behind that smile.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for me to like reconcile the two. It's just crazy.
Yeah, so you can see these terrible photos that she took. They are online. The deceased is like blurred out, but she's there posing like with her thumbs up, and she's smiling. Or
she's like
one.
leaning in her head next to, like she's putting her head next to the deceased patient's head. Like she's like really in there.
Yeah.
Not just like sort of standing in the same area, like
posing with them.
Like as if they are taking a picture together.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the laws are in Italy, but I know here that would be pretty illegal.
Well, she would be being sued for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so you think there'd be a lawsuit, and in one of the photos she has like her mouth open like she's mocking the dead person next to her. It's
my gosh.
So distasteful to say the least.
Very disturbing. It's very disturbing. These pictures are really, if you can handle it, I would suggest going to look at these pictures online to really illustrate what we're talking about here.
So they've proved that she's used this potassium chloride, or that's the wishy-washy part?
The facts are non-existent. I don't know.
Dang, I'm just mind blown over here. I
think she's got a really good attorney, and I think when we're thinking of criminal cases, we're thinking of like what we know as the law here in the United States,
right?
And clearly it's a lot easier to get acquitted in Italy and get around these facts that are non-existent.
Wow.
So,
but yeah, that's how Rosa died, and if she was the last nurse in there.
And so I think they've only tried her on 2 or 3 of these patients who died, or maybe just these 2, just Rosa and Massimo, because they've got nothing for anybody else, because by the time they realized she was doing it, all those other patients' autopsies had been completed, and there's nothing left to, prove that she did that.
Yeah,
that she killed them.
Yep. This might have to be a case that maybe we follow, like in a month or something. We try and look it up and see
if there's any more information out there and see where this goes.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep everyone posted.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy, messed up story of Nurse Daniela Poggiali.
Don't do anything Daniela does. My mom actually asked me the other day, she's like, after like researching all these healthcare horror, she's like, doesn't it make you question the doctors and nurses like who are in charge of your care? And I was like, yeah, it's very terrifying.
Well, it makes me question everyone though, anybody can.
That's very true.
Also, like when I was looking up stuff on IMDb, they have a TV series called Nurses Who Kill.
She's on episode 4, season 1.
Yeah, I didn't have access to season 1.
Me either. They only have access to season 2 and 3.
Why? I don't understand.
I tried. I tried to look it up too.
I wanted to watch it.
I was going to watch it last night.
All right. Anything else on her?
No, I've got nothing. There really just was that little amount of information on Mean
Yeah. Crazy story.
The facts are
non-existent. Thank you, Dylan.
That makes me think of Mean Girls at the end. What does she say? The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist. I don't know why it made me think
like
of
her
that.
answer for the math question and her math leads.
You've never seen Mean Girls?
I have seen Mean Girls.
It's a good one. It's a good movie. It's a good one to watch after talking about dark stuff like this.
It'll make you laugh.
Yup. And so don't forget to send in some full moon stories too if you got them. I want to hear them.
100%.
What are we talking about next time?
We're going to talk about the skin hunters.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a Polish story. So look forward to us mispronouncing everybody's name.
Oh yeah, there's some hard ones.
Can we just call them by their first initial?
Oh God, A. Yes. A. I thought about that. I thought about trying to make up nicknames for them, but we'll get to that.
What shakes out.
Yep. So yeah, tune in. Not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that for the episode about the skin hunters.
And don't do anything Daniela Poggiali would do.
Murder. Thank you for listening to Healthcare Horrors, brought to you by Atlas MedStaff. Just a reminder, we are not healthcare professionals. We are just fans of true crime, talking about some of history's darkest moments in healthcare. Stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay safe. Healthcare Horrors. Murder.